The name Ruth Winifred Howard is one we should all know, earning her place in history as the second African American woman to complete a doctorate in psychology. Dr. Howard had a long career encompassing social work, education, and developmental and clinical psychology. Howard was born in Washington, D.C. on March 25, 1900. She was the eighth and youngest child of the Reverend and Mrs. William James Howard. Reverend Howard was a minister at Zion Baptist Church in Washington, D.C., and her mother was a homemaker who encouraged her children in their educational ambitions. As Howard reports in an interview with psychologist Robert Guthrie, she was exposed to the social work attitude of her father's ministry and, coupled with an affinity for books and reading, soon led her to recognize a desire to work with people and study human behavior.
What is it that caused you to want to go into psychology, or at least to go into social work?
My father was a minister, a Baptist minister. If you may have heard of the Zion Baptist Church in Washington. I give that background because my father really had the social work attitude which many present-day ministers have. And I was exposed to all types of social work and people, and I was interested in them.
Howard attended Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C. The school was founded as a school for black children, which aspired for intellectual equality within the black community. After graduating from Dunbar in 1916, her interests led her to enroll in Simmons College in Boston under a National Urban League grant. Here she would receive her bachelor's degree in 1921 and her master's degree in 1927. Majoring in social work, Howard was exposed to many different ideas which stayed with her throughout her professional career. These included the need to assist the unemployed, undereducated, and troubled youths through community planning. This continued humanitarianism is made evident by this letter written to Howard from a concerned sister asking for Howard's assistance in helping her brother attend college. In the letter, the writer describes the hardships her family has faced, including severe financial strain. Upon earning these degrees, Howard began practicing social work through the Cleveland Urban League, and soon after accepted a position with the Cleveland Child Welfare Agency, where she worked with children living in dysfunctional family situations or foster homes. During her time with the welfare agency, Howard quickly became disheartened in her interactions among school representatives, medical staff, and staff at children's clinics, due to the lack of understanding or empathy for cultural groups other than their own. Howard saw this lack of concern as a major barrier to understanding the feelings, attitudes, and behaviors of the children served by the agency. These experiences pushed Howard to pursue a career in psychology.
As I said before, I wanted to know more about human dynamics, what made people tick more, and that's when I got into the study of psychology.
Howard began studying at Columbia University's Teachers College and School of Social Work in 1929 through a Laura Spelman Rockefeller Fellowship for Parent Education. In 1930, she transferred to the University of Minnesota and their Institute for Child Development under a second fellowship. Her doctoral research involved the study of the development of 229 sets of triplets, ranging from infancy to 79 years of age, from several ethnic groups. Her paper, entitled A Study in the Development of Triplets, would later be published in the Journal of Psychology in 1946, and the Journal of Genetic Psychology in 1947. In the year 1934, Howard became the second African American woman in the United States to receive a Ph.D. in psychology, following Inez Beverly Prosser in 1933. After her graduation, Howard married fellow psychologist Albert S. Beckham and soon moved to Chicago.
I married and came to Chicago, and Illinois Institute for Juvenile Research for over a year for an internship in clinical psychology.
She also worked at a community hospital and state school for delinquent girls. Following her internship, Howard went into private practice with her husband and took a supervisory position at the National Youth Administration. Howard and Beckham named their practice the Center for Psychological Service. As her clinical practice grew, Howard pursued postdoctoral studies at the University of Chicago. During her time at the University of Chicago, Howard studied projective techniques with Dr. Robert Havighurst, client-centered therapy with Dr. Carl Rogers, reading therapy with Dr. Helen Robinson, and play therapy with Virginia Axline, who was just beginning to write about this developing subfield. When Howard's husband died in 1964, she retired their practice. She remained in Chicago, where she continued in private practice, consulted for children's programs at the Abraham Lincoln Center, served as psychologist for the McKinley Center for Retarded Children, and the Chicago Board of Health Mental Health Division, and worked with Worthington and Hearst psychological consultants. Dr. Howard's publications include Fantasy and the Play Interview, Intellectual and Personality Traits of a Group of Triplets, and The Developmental History of a Group of Triplets. Her professional affiliations include the Chicago Psychology Club, Illinois Psychological Association, American Psychological Association, American Association for the Advancement of Science, and the International Reading Association. Ruth Howard was also active in numerous professional and community organizations. She helped organize the National Association of College Women, and joined the International Psychological Association, the International Council of Women Psychologists, the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, and the Friends of the Mentally Ill. Ruth Howard died on February 12, 1997, leaving behind a legacy of being a pioneer and her many accomplishments. Ruth Howard helped pave a path that many generations of women have since followed.